what I guess today we're talking about another penny stock Yu-Gi-Oh market watch. The best cards under $5 in the Yu-Gi-Oh market. What cards should you be looking out for? So TLDR, just out the gate, the top four best-selling cards are all cards we talked about here already on the market watch. Ghost Ogre, Snow Rabbit, now taking the number one spot over Dark, the Dark Charmer. It's still obviously a great card. Phantom Knights, we talked about that, etc. If you guys aren't already subscribed, make sure you guys are. I have this internal conflict of how much do I repeat myself just in case this is the first video somebody's watched, and how much do I not repeat myself just in case there's people who are subscribing and watching the videos every single week, right? Because we talked about DDDs, talked about Blue Eyes. Those are just DDDs is a fan favorite archetype for some reason. Blue Eyes even more so. Always going to be good solid bets there. This is still holding true, which is interesting. Priya Ree's map. At start of wave, add one monster with 0 attack for your deck, but half your life points. After adding it to your hand until the next turn, if this card is activated, you cannot activate cards with that monster's effect, or the effects of the cards of that name until you normal summon that monster or a card with its name. So can't search hand traps, but it's still a really, really solid card. It's just interesting that this card hasn't really seen any major flux. Like, it's always been up here in this top 5 region. Definitely a card I talked about before. Master of Chaos. I'm assuming this is a Dark Magician. Yeah, Dark Magician, Chaos, Black Luster Soldier card. Yeah, just that nostalgic thing, especially when it comes to like budget options. Those are always going to be huge here. Solemn Strike is interesting. Solemn Strike's another card we talked about before. Okay. I thought I saw one for 19 cents, and I was so confused. I was so perplexed why that was happening. So if you guys aren't already in now, so I bought. I think about 5 of these, for 50 cents or something like that. Like it's nothing. It's pennies. You know what I mean? It's penny stock for a reason. I've already made profit on it, obviously, right? Obviously, I'm just gonna hold because, like I mentioned previously, every version of this card. I mean, this is a little over a dollar, probably I would assume a little over a dollar, right? They're all a little over a dollar, and I would assume that this is where this is going to fall. It's going to be a little over a dollar. It's obviously never going to hit this Breakers of Shadow, which is the original version, or even the Mega Pass Secrets, and definitely not the OTS Rares, but you can still make a huge amount of profit off of that. And if you're worried you missed out on this ship, you have not yet, but once it hits a dollar, that's probably going to be it. That's probably going to be as far as we're going to be able to take it. So it's just a lot of reviews so far. A lot of these cards have been here. We talked about Ghost Bow before, more DDD cards, Eldritch card, obviously. The Geek Boy's still standing strong. And this is spicy. So let's try to figure out what's going on here. So dinosaurs are obviously gone, right? Dinosaurs are missing. And it's because of miscellaneous pterosaurs, right? The original version of this card used to be, if we go all the way back, jeez, $50, $55 card. Even the Megaton version, though, hasn't been cheap. And that's interesting. This card is kind of a surprise. I want to do this. I don't normally go to the second page. I'm just curious to see. Yep, that's exactly why I did that. I was just curious to see. So something is happening with dinosaurs. I guess I'm gonna have to do more research on that. I'm trying to see if there's any other dinosaurs. I'm only gonna go to page 3 because now we're already starting to talk about. We're already starting to talk about, you know, in the hundreds. As far as like the 100 best selling cards, like it starts to get a little bit over the top. But here we have Double Evolution Pill. We'll go to 100 because I believe this next stop is 100. Mystic Mind is kind of a dinosaur card. Who's using dinosaurs a lot? Fair Flames, I believe, has dinosaurs on it. Then that is it. Yeah, okay, so that's it. As far as the dinosaur cards that have really seen a resurgence in popularity, and I don't know. I don't really know why. I think that this deck is not going to be very good as long as Miscellaneous Pterosaurus is at 1. And we could just check this out here. There's a lot of 1s. And the reason that is good is that means that it's very easy to buy this card out. Now, there are 140 listings This person's got 8. This is 3, 4. So no one has more than 10 until we get to 399. And right now, the cheapest version is 179. So I don't think it's the greatest buyout target, but there is a reason why this is one of the top 24 best selling cards in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Penny Stock Market Watch. Now, if we take a look at Double Evolution Pilk here, this is the dual Hofer Load version. Way back when type card. We can look at this one too. There's only 31 listening to this. Jeez, all over the place. So dinosaur cards are kind of slipping off the market. Let's actually just go. It's just interesting. I think if we go here, now we can start to look at. Yeah, there we go. Because, okay, obviously, I've mentioned this twice now already. I'm going to mention it again. That dinosaurs aren't that great of a deck. But $1, so $3 on a playset of Oviraptors. $1, $20, $50 for play sets of UCT. I think you only played 2. I don't really remember. Dolka sitting there at 40 cents. Lost Worlds, pennies. Literally pennies. Lagia. You only need 1 copy of Lagia, 1 copy of Dolka. And we just look at this whole thing here. The OTS tournament pack version of Scrap Raptor is $2. Fossil Dig is 45 cents. And okay, so the ban list just dropped, right? So there's probably no chance of a ban list anytime soon. But if you want a fun deck that maybe isn't that great but can still do good things, Dinosaurs is a great option. And it's a great budget option right now to be able to do that. And you can do a lot of spicy things with Dinosaurs. You can do some weird banish shenanigans and run the why can I not think of the card? The dinosaur that gains a bunch of attack based on how many banished dinosaurs you have. You have Giant Rex shenanigans as well. You also can do more of a stun version with UCT, Lagia, and Dolka. You can also do more of an OTK version with, once again, UCT, and just a lot of different things. And the thing is, too, when it comes to dinosaurs, is that there have been so many different versions of the deck. This card is literally pennies. That, like this card coming back, for example, boom, dinosaurs are better, right? Or we look at, and this card I've had for a while, and I have a feeling that sooner or later it's going to come off the ban list. This card coming back, that is going to make dinosaurs even better. How do you say this? Petiter, right? It doesn't matter. Anyway, it's $1.25. So these isn't like, I'm not saying like this is gonna be the next best meta deck, obviously, right? But this guy, right? This guy right here. This card comes back, and wow, it's sitting at $1.30, $1.50. It's still sitting at a pretty high price. This card comes back. It's gonna be interesting to see how high the dinosaurs really go. If people are already thinking about picking this stuff up, I would assume what happened here is it just hit a low point. And not really. I guess kind of sort of over the last month it has. But it's kind of been going up in comparison to where it's been. So I don't know. I think maybe somebody sees something like this. Like dinosaurs are not going to be good as long as Miscellaneous Ceratosaurus is at 1. But with a market that's been relatively, at least as far as the penny stocks are concerned, it's been relatively calm. The Golden Lord's still here. This card's still here. We've talked about all of these cards before, except for this one, right? I'm about to talk about this card in a second. It's just interesting. This is the newest entry, right? Like we've seen the Gammas, we've seen the Bells, we've seen the Strikes, we've seen Dark Charmers, we've seen the DDD cards, the Blue Eyes cards, Dark Magician cards. This card's a new entry, as is this card. And we're getting close to the point here. I just wanted to see all versions. Jeez. That's weird. But I was just going to say, we're getting close to the point where the Egyptian god structure decks are starting to fall off of the shelves, right? And still right now, the Cypher, the Sky Dragon is $11, $11 $10, and then Obelisk is $10 as well, right? And we look at Chalice is now $2 from here. Monster Reborn is still only 30 cents. Pot of Avarice is still only 50 cents. So it's still nothing. But this card being in here is super huge. And the thing is yes, Harpy's Feather Duster is at 1 right now. Harpy's Feather Duster also got a reprint in Maximum Gold, Premium Gold Rare, right? Like, there's 11 copies of Harpy's Feather Duster. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that these Egyptian God structure decks feel like they're the next in line for the wow, I can't believe these are actually worth money structure decks. You know what I mean? Like yes, like Card Advance, Kaliga, Clock Row, Reckless Greed, Econ back to the front. Like, they're not Swords of Revealing Light is in here, right? But the thing is with this structure deck that I really like about this structure deck is that there are all of these cards here that came out in this structure deck specifically, both of these structure decks, right? And not only that, but both structure decks have cards exclusively from the structure deck, right? Now, some of them are obviously in both, like Souls Crossing, but the point that I'm trying to make is that if something randomly happens, okay, not with this card, but something randomly happens with this card, or Harpy's Feather Duster, like it goes back to 3, for example, which is definitely not out of the realm of possibility, even though you might be thinking, oh, there's no way Harpy's Feather Duster comes back to 3. It might. It might. And if it does, all versions of Harpy's Feather Duster are going to shoot to the moon, especially the versions from a structure deck that didn't really get to see a lot of, that it just wasn't bought a lot. Like, yes, there are the anime fans, right? And like I said, when I talk about Blue Eyes or I talk about Dark Magician, obviously those cards are always going to be more expensive because they're just fan favorites. This didn't really see that though. We really didn't see that from the Egyptian God starter decks. Excuse me. And it's just because it wasn't very good. Like, just to be real. But if you've been noticing what cards I'm selecting, I've been selecting mostly the cards that are literally only from this structure deck, and it's just going to take one random weird interaction with Angel number 1, or random interaction with Fist of Fate, or one random interaction with Level Resist Wall, or Harpy's Feather Duster to come back to 3, or any of these other cards that were only printed in these starter decks. There was a lot of cards that were only printed in these starter decks, and they're still $30 for 3 right now. It's going to be an interesting thing to see. Now, it's a bit of a risk. It's a bit of a gamble because if Harpy's Feather Duster stays at 1, this will hold a line at 5 and maybe even will start to go down, right? But there's a reason why, as we get all the way back to this, there's a reason why it's the number 21st. It's the number 21 best-selling card from the Obelisk one. The reason for that is because the potential for a buyout is there. You just saw what happened to Skill Drain when it has low quantities and came off the ban list. Harpy's Feather Duster in my opinion, it will not stay limited forever, right? So, just something to keep in mind. Let me know what you guys think. What are the best selling cards under $5 that you're watching out for? Let me know in those comments down below. Make sure you click that like and that subscribe button, show your support for the channel. But most importantly of all, have a good day.